Bob, let's start with you. Healthy correction? Is it a correction?
Well, correction depends how you define it. To me, when a stock pulls back, that's a correction. Are we going to get to 10%? I suspect not.
Yeah.
I think we've got a little further to go before the buyers come back in and do some bargain hunting. Look, we're only where we were about 2 weeks ago. The surprise isn't that we're have come down this much. The surprise is we went up that much so fast.
Chris, I've had so many conversations about this, and most people turning around to me and saying everything that came before Friday was abnormal. Friday was the normal day.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more volatility in the marketplace. I think we're getting back to the old normal, where volatility exists. Before, what you had is the Fed sucking volatility out. You had the Fed sucking risk out. Now the Fed is starting to reintroduce that into the marketplace. And I do think this is healthy. I think it's a viable pullback, but it's a walk, not run type situation.
Regime shift, George?
Well, one thing is clear. I mean, equities are back to where they were 2 weeks ago, but rates are where they're back to where they were in 2014. So
that's where the move is.
So the big move, obviously, is in the bond market. I think the bond market, I mean, those that were bearish are kind of pinching themselves and kind of having maybe a kind of a Philadelphia Eagles moment. Or did they really win? And I think the bond market bears are wondering, was this a real actual sell-off? Because we've been in such a complacent kind of state of mind for the last 3 to 4 years.
Well, for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, for the equity market, it's buy the dip, buy the dip. Morgan Stanley out with a note this morning. This coming from the chief US equity strategist, Mike Wilson, in his note to clients saying the following: no rush to buy this dip as we wait for positive divergence and watch the cyclical defensive ratio for a low, but ultimately we will trade to new highs as cooler heads prevail. Too early to buy the dip, Chris?
I think you start legging into it. I think you want to, again, it's a walk, not run type situation. So if you have money on the sideline, put maybe a third of it to work. But what I would like to see, I would have liked to see futures down even more today before I bought the dip. We're not seeing enough fear in the marketplace. We saw fear more or less just in the last half hour Friday, where people started to buy protection, where we started to see some de-risking. You're not seeing enough risk for us to really get aggressive.